In 2005, my family and I returned to the United States from Ukraine, where we were missionaries. We had just spent our first year over there. We flew into JFK, and we were there for about a few days. I can't remember, before going up to New York, or going up to Vermont, where our home was. And while we were in New York, my wife's aunt took us on a tour of the fire station. I'm not even sure which one or where it was in New York City, where she worked. While there, she gave me this shirt, which I've worn once a year for the 15 years since, or 14 years since. And this particular shirt commemorates the, I believe, 7 men and women from their station that died, during the attempt to rescue as many people as they possibly could. Their nickname following this event was New York's bravest. Right? The fire department in New York. Their, I guess what they would call their blue brothers, the police department in New York, was referred to as New York's finest. And that's the way it was. Movies have often depicted their bravery and things like that, not just then, but before then. Heroism has always been associated with people who are willing to sacrifice their lives as a group for other people. And this is their job. Something's happened in the years since, and what exactly happened, I'm not sure how it happened, but an angry minority has swayed at least some people that these are awful people, and so their careers, their reputations, and sometimes we are increasingly seeing even their lives are under attack. Men who we called the bravest and finest. Yeah, maybe they're the bravest and finest, I don't know. What happened, though? How did we get this far to where people could be assaulted like this? Who get up in the morning and their job is to go and not know what's going to happen to them on a daily basis. I mean, these men got up and had no idea as they prepared for work. Hundreds of them would not come home from work in one morning. Well, an angry minority always exists in our country. Right? There's always an angry minority. A group of people who've had legitimate harms done to them. Some perceive harms where they haven't. But these people are a minority that are constantly angry. And sometimes they rise up. But this seems different, at least to me, in my lifetime. Maybe other people who've lived longer remember times where this is, this doesn't seem anything new. I don't know. But how does this happen? My experience is fairly limited. But I believe that when a minority of vocal people has the sway in society that it does, it's because the majority do not denounce, or whatever the case may be, they don't end the angry minority by speaking out and letting their voice be a contradiction and a repudiation of that vocal minority. And what's happened in my vision is that there are a number of voices, and I don't know, maybe they agree or maybe they don't agree, but I believe that it is a significant number of voices that have done lip service to agree with this minority that probably don't in reality agree with them. But for whatever reason, they haven't used the platform they have, and whether it be a political platform or a news platform or whatever the platform is, the social media platform, people haven't spoken out against a violence done to really a selfless group of people overall. And so when a majority, and I don't know what the motivations are, I don't think that the majority of people agree with this angry group. I think the majority probably disagree. In fact, a lot of polling suggests that. But the anger is loud, and when those with a platform don't repudiate it, then it makes others feel like maybe this is the majority. I don't want to go along with it. That could put my life and career and reputation in danger. And others might have maybe not agree with it, but they see maybe an opportunity to get something that they're after for it by allowing that group to remain vocal without offering a counterpoint. What I might not agree with them, but I can gain something from this, whether it be political advantage or whatever. A few thousand years ago, the world's and history's finest and bravest died. A sacrificial, selfless death. It's interesting that Jesus rode into town with a majority of people. A minority of people that were angry and had something to gain fostered insurrection and unrest among the majority. It seemed loud, and by the end of the week, they were on the same side. And it condemned this person to death. Of course, I'm talking about Christ. And since then, Christ has influenced the world. We now chart time by him. The most famous holiday in the world is named after him. I mean, he's impacted our society. The best-selling book every year is the Bible. Right? Society has been impacted by him, and yet we see an increasing cultural shift away now, it appears, at least for a time being, from the things that most people know and probably agree with to some extent. Why does that happen? Well, it happens because those of us who believe it and agree with it remain silent. We have a platform. We have many platforms. Our friendships, our relationships in the community, and acquaintances, our social media, our whatever it is, to influence people, and yet we remain silent. Maybe we think, well, the majority of people might disagree with me, or what have you. And again, we don't know. Maybe it's the majority, maybe it's the minority. It's not the point. The point is we have a opportunity to repudiate atheism and humanism. And if we don't do it, then it will continue to spread. And that's our job. And Paul said, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ because it's the power of God to salvation. I can't be ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of selfless people, and I'm not going to be cowed by a minority or even a majority, if that were the case, from saying what I believe. I do not believe that a group of selfless people whose job it is to save men and women from destruction, I don't believe that they're evil people. And I don't think, and I will never believe, that a person who came to this planet who didn't have to and died to save people from themselves is an evil person. And that the things he taught are out of date or no longer applicable. And it is those things that Christ taught that are going to save this world, and might be the same things. In fact, I do believe they are the same things that we would teach spiritually that will turn a society around, even the society that seems to be heading the wrong direction. This is, in a political sense, this is what the world around us needs. It doesn't need more politicians. It doesn't need more media or anything like that. What it needs is the gospel. That is the power of God that is going to save a society from itself.